In the life of Christina Onassis, the intertwining of fortune and tragedy cast a long shadow over an existence many might envy, but few would willingly embrace. Born into the legendary Onassis dynasty, Christina not only inherited immense wealth, but also a legacy steeped in profound loss, becoming the richest girl in the world after her father's death. Her life unfolded like a modern Greek tragedy, marked by the premature deaths of her beloved brother and mother, and characterized by tumultuous personal relationships amidst a backdrop of luxury and intense public scrutiny. From her father's highly publicized affairs and his sudden death to the bitter disputes with her stepmother, Jackie Kennedy Onassis, whom she infamously dubbed the Black Widow and blamed for the family's misfortunes, even arguing with her over money at her father's very own funeral. Her experiences epitomized dramatic highs and lows. Christina's series of broken marriages, her struggle with loneliness and depression, and her efforts to buy companionship, where she would employ people simply to be her friends, starkly highlight the reality that wealth does not guarantee happiness. From drug use, to Diet Coke addiction, to battles with weight where the media would mock her relentlessly to her sudden death at the tender age of 37, this is the story of the tragic life of Christina Onassis, the richest girl in the world. Christina Onassis was born amidst grandeur on December 11, 1950, in New York City, the progeny of two towering Greek shipping magnates, Aristotle Socrates Onassis and Athina Livanos. Her life was set against a backdrop of extraordinary wealth and high expectations, with her elder brother Alexander poised as the heir apparent. Christina's role in this illustrious lineage was scripted from the start, to revel in her pampered existence and ensure the continuance of the Onassis dynasty. From her earliest days, Christina found herself ensconced within a tempest of media fascination, a perpetual darling of the public eye. At the tender age of 3, she was introduced to the family's floating palace, the Christina O, a marvel of nautical luxury named in her honor. While other children delighted in the whimsical tunes of Shirley Temple's The Good Ship Lollipop, Christina claimed a tangible counterpart, a $6 million yacht that was a bastion of grandeur and excess. Her nursery walls were canvassed with murals by Ludwig Bemelmans, famed creator of Madeline, while her dolls donned bespoke ensembles handmade from the House of Dior. Amidst this splendid isolation, the yacht's bulkheads boasted masterpieces by Gauguin and Pissarro, flanked by two revered El Grecos. This floating citadel was not just a vessel of opulence, but a showcase of eccentric extravagance, with bar stools crafted from an unlikely source, the foreskins of whales, prompting Aristotle's witticism that guests were seated upon the largest penis in the world. Among her treasures, Christina possessed a purebred Mongolian horse, a regal gift from the King of Saudi Arabia. Despite their globe-trotting to glamorous capitals, Paris, London, New York, the Riviera, Aristotle's heart remained anchored near the Ionian Sea, on the secluded Isle of Scorpios, painting a portrait of a life as lavishly lived as it was intensely scrutinized. Even amidst such splendor, simple childhood joys emerged. Despite the gourmet Greek cuisine prepared by Aristotle himself, Christina found comfort in the taste of her American nanny's cheeseburgers. This stark contrast between her opulent surroundings and her simple pleasures highlighted the profound dichotomy of her existence. A life brimming with every conceivable luxury, yet underscored by a solitude and a set of expectations that wealth alone could not fulfill. As legends like Winston Churchill admired her youthful artistry and stars such as Greta Garbo and Gregory Peck showered her with affection, Christina grew under a golden spotlight that promised as much shadow as it did light. Each accolade and every lavish party on the decks of the Christina O subtly wove the threads of her destiny, crafting a tapestry rich in spectacle, but fraught with the complexities of an heiress to an empire as familiar with scandal as it was with success. As Christina transitioned from the cherubic innocence of toddlerhood, her features began to echo her father's more robust visage, distinguishing her from the delicate, almost ethereal beauty idolized in her mother Athina and Aunt Eugenia, who possessed the serene allure akin to Grace Kelly. Christina's physical divergence from this familial grace marked her early with a sense of otherness. Coupled with a shy demeanor, she became a reticent observer of the opulent yet tumultuous world around her. Her parents' marriage, a tempestuous union set against a backdrop of jet-set soirees and relentless business pursuits, often left her in the quiet expanses of grand estates that felt less like homes and more like gilded cages. The drama of Christina Onassis' life deepened dramatically with the entrance of Maria Callas, the famed opera diva, whose presence aboard the Onassis family yacht during a Mediterranean cruise ignited a fateful affair. This journey was not merely a retreat, but a lavish spectacle featuring dignitaries like Sir Winston and Lady Clementine Churchill. As the yacht sliced through the crystalline waters, Maria Callas and Aristotle Onassis were drawn into a whirlwind of shared glances and whispered promises. By night, the deck, adorned with a mosaic of the Minotaur, transformed into a moonlit stage where they danced, seemingly oblivious to the world. Meanwhile, Aristotle's wife Athina simmered in quiet fury as her husband flaunted his indiscretion under the cover of night, his audacity fueled by the same hubris that had built his empire. The affair escalated when the Christina O docked at Monte Carlo, and Maria, along with her husband, disembarked only to be pursued by a smitten Onassis. Left in the wake of this burgeoning scandal, Athina made the decisive choice to abandon the yacht with her children. That night, as Christina recalled, was one of bewildering loss, a moment when the fabric of her family seemed irreparably torn. That night was confused. Daddy wasn't there. I imagined that I was losing something important. I didn't know what. Mother only said we had to leave, and she was sure we were not coming back. The heiress harbored a deep resentment toward the woman she blamed for her parents' divorce. Whenever she visited her father, Aristotle ensured his mistress was hidden, though her presence loomed like a shadow. The saga intensified as Aristotle's relentless quest for prominence and affection led him to another iconic figure, Jacqueline Kennedy. In a grand gesture akin to royal unions, they exchanged vows and celebrated aboard the Christina O, mirroring the festivities of Princess Grace and Prince Rainier a decade earlier. The wedding was a spectacle of glamour and ambition, with Aristotle reveling in the glory of marrying America's widowed First Lady, turning a personal triumph into a public spectacle. Yet this union stirred mixed emotions within his own family. The children, Christina and Alexander, cried tears not of joy, but of a profound sense of loss and disillusionment. Alexander's cynically poignant remark captured the essence of the match. It's a perfect match. My father loves names, and Jackie loves money. This stark observation underscored the transactional nature of relationships that had come to define the Onassis legacy, a legacy Christina was deeply enmeshed in, yet increasingly at odds with, as the echoes of Greek tragedy continued to shape her path. The aftermath of Jacqueline Kennedy becoming Mrs. Onassis swept through the media with the force of a tempest, igniting an international frenzy that dubbed her Jackie O. Yet, amidst the spectacle, Christina bestowed upon her stepmother a nickname far less endearing, eventually calling her the Black Widow, and believing that all of her family's future misfortunes stemmed from her. Aristotle, in a gesture meant to mark Christina's transition into adulthood, had planned to bestow upon her 21 ships. However, in a defiant twist worthy of an Euripidean plot, Christina retaliated against her father's remarriage, to what she scathingly referred to as my father's unfortunate obsession, by marrying in a hastily arranged 3-minute civil ceremony in Las Vegas. Her choice, Joe Bolker, was a divorced realtor, 27 years her senior, seasoned in the social circles of heiresses, but ill-prepared for the storm his marriage would provoke. Aristotle's reaction was volcanic, threatening to sever her from a trust fund worth $75 million, partly incensed by Bolker's Judaism, which he feared might jeopardize his crucial Arab business connections. Overwhelmed by her father's wrath and perhaps regretting her precipitous decision, Christina spiraled into such despair that it led to a rumored suicide attempt, resulting in a hospital stay. The marriage, crushed under the weight of immense familial and financial pressures, disintegrated after 9 grueling months. Reflecting on their brief union, Volcker later remarked, "Listen, when $1 billion leans on you, you can feel it." In a gesture of reconciliation, Aristotle whisked his daughter away on a global tour, perhaps in hopes of mending their fractured relationship. However, the brief respite was soon shattered as tragedy struck with almost mythological ferocity. First, Christina's aunt, Eugenia Niarchos, wife of Aristotle's arch-rival Stavros Niarchos, ended her life in despair. Then, within a 3-year period, she lost her entire family. First, Christina's beloved brother Alexander, the cherished heir, died tragically in a plane crash. The loss aged Aristotle profoundly, drawing him and Christina closer in their shared grief. But sorrow was not yet finished with the Onassis family. Christina's mother, Athina, who had remarried her late sister's husband, Stavros Niarchos, succumbed to an overdose of sleeping pills. Arriving to pay her respects, Christina was confronted with the chilling sight of Niarchos hosting a lavish dinner while her mother's body lay in repose in the adjacent room, an image of callous indifference that deeply shook her. The relentless assault of fate did not pause. Aristotle soon fell ill, his vitality ebbing quickly. In his passing, Christina found herself reflecting on the hollow nature of their wealth, famously remarking at his funeral, "Happiness is not based on money. And the best proof of this is our family." Adding insult to her grief, her stepmother, Jackie Kennedy Onassis, appeared at the funeral with Ted Kennedy. Although Jackie had agreed to a fixed sum, she now wanted more, and began discussing her financial share of Aristotle's estate, prompting a distraught Christina to write a check for $26 million. The joke is, "I would have given her 50 times what I gave her for the pleasure of never having to see her again," she said. In a twist that seemed a desperate bid for familial continuity, or perhaps redemption, Christina married Alexander Andreatis just 4 months after her father's death, a match Aristotle had once hoped for. But even this union, formed under the shadow of past tragedies, was not to last. There was no love or compatibility between them, and after Andreatis suffered a leg injury in a motorcycle accident on Scorpios, Christina, perhaps with a touch of grim humor, signed his cast with a farewell. "Bon voyage, Alexandros, better luck next time," before boarding her private jet and leaving for solitude in her luxurious Monte Carlo apartment, where she filed for divorce. Christina desperately wanted love, but depression began to consume her. Hurting from her divorce, her losses, and the way she felt Stavros Niarchos had treated her mother, Christina Onassis sued Niarchos for her mother's estimated $250 million estate, arguing that the marriage should be annulled under Greek law. Christina later ended the lawsuit, and Niarchos returned all of his wife's money, as well as her jewelry, artwork, and other personal effects to Christina. Although it provided some closure, it was small consolation for the lonely life she was now leading. Her life post-divorce and the unraveling of her family ties paint a deeply poignant picture of her personal struggles. After enduring multiple personal tragedies and 2 failed marriages, she found herself enveloped in profound solitude, reminiscent of the dystopian depths of Orwell's Room 101. This phase of her life underscored the paradox of her existence: immense wealth juxtaposed with intense personal despair. Her battle with depression was evident as she turned to overeating, a coping mechanism that led to significant weight gain. The public was unkind, with gossip columnists cruelly nicknaming her Thunder Thighs and the Greek Tanker, compounding her private pain with public humiliation. In an extraordinary measure to manage her cravings, Christina famously sent her private jet to the United States monthly, just to stock up on Diet Coke, spending $30,000 per trip, a small comfort in her troubled life. Her desperation for companionship led to an unconventional arrangement. She put her friends on her payroll at $30,000 a month, requiring them to always be available when called. She enforced unique house rules. No one was allowed to go to bed until she had overcome her amphetamine-induced insomnia, and lovemaking under her roof was strictly forbidden. Maids were instructed to check bed sheets each morning for signs of transgression. Offenders were swiftly exiled. Christina once stated, "My most fervent wish is that I shall meet a man who loves me for myself and not my money." This desire led her to her third husband, Sergei Kauzov, a peculiar choice given his background as a Moscow-based Communist Party member with gold teeth and a glass eye. She gave up her European homes, and he left his wife and 9-year-old daughter for her. However, this relationship too was doomed to fail, collapsing after 14 months due to their incompatible lives and the sheer improbability of their union. He received a ship in the divorce settlement as Christina's life continued to spiral downward. Christina Onassis' fourth journey to the altar in 1984 was marked by both deep affection and striking betrayals. She married Thierry Roussel, a French businessman whom the international press dubbed the world's most successful gigolo. At their wedding, an occasion filled with pomp and personal promises, Christina lavished upon him a gift of $10 million, a gesture grandiose even by the standards of the Onassis legacy. Roussel, in a less endearing exchange, had requested that she shed 15 kilos, casting a shadow over their union from the start. The marriage, however, harbored secrets more piercing than requests for weight loss. Unbeknownst to Christina, Thierry Roussel maintained a long-standing relationship with Gabi Landhag, a Swedish beauty, and refused to let his vows disrupt this prior commitment. Despite this, the marriage blessed Christina with the birth of her daughter, Athina Helene Roussel, who quickly became her most treasured joy and her crown jewel. However, this joy was tarnished when only 5 months later, Landhag gave birth to Roussel's son, a revelation that dampened the new mother's spirits but did not break her resolve. Christina's commitment wavered only when Gabi's second child was born, prompting her to sever ties with Roussel through a swift divorce. Still longing for more children, she negotiated an unusual parting gift from Roussel, a bank of his sperm. In gratitude, she presented him with a $160,000 Ferrari Testarossa and promised a $10 million bonus should she have another child. The collapse of her marriages across continents, from American to Greek, Russian, and finally French, left Christina disillusioned with love, propelling her to Buenos Aires in search of the elusive happiness that had danced just beyond her grasp. There, in a city whose very name promised a breath of good air, she sought solace in the company of Luis Sosa Basualdo, whom she compensated generously for his companionship. Yet even in these moments of seeking comfort, the cruel remarks of her paid companion, who said she was about as sexy as a walloping hippo, mirrored the harsh judgments she had endured from the public eye. At 37, Christina Onassis seemed to have found a semblance of peace. She had shed 45 pounds at a Swiss clinic, devoted herself to her daughter, and even entertained the possibility of a new romance with George Chomlek-Joglu, an Argentine who might have become her fifth husband. However, fate had scripted a different ending for Christina. On the night of November 19, 1988, after her routine intake of a sleeping pill, her life drew to a quiet close. The following morning, her maid Eleni found her lifeless in the bathtub. The official cause of death was a heart attack, brought on by years of binge eating, grueling diets, and heavy doses of amphetamines. Even in death, Christina could not escape the lens of the paparazzi. Camera crews infiltrated the chapel where she lay in state. Dressed in a white tunic and clasping a single red rose, she was, for the last time, the focal point of flashing cameras. Christina was laid to rest in the family crypt in Scorpios, beside the father who had lovingly called her Chryso Mao, or my gold. Christina Onassis' life, laden with laurels and laced with loss, was a modern odyssey etched with echoes of ancient tragedy. Born into boundless wealth, she navigated a labyrinth of loneliness and longing, her path perennially shadowed by the specters of sorrow and solitude. Each chapter of her life, rich in opulence, was equally rife with ordeals, her joys as fleeting as they were fervent. Amid the gilded galleries of the elite, where whispers of wealth wafted through the air, her heart harbored a hollow ache for genuine affection, an odyssey obscured by the overwhelming ostentation of her existence. In the end, Christina's journey through the jagged edges of extreme extravagance and emotional exhaustion mirrored the tragic tales of old, where not even the vast vaults of the Onassis fortune could shield her spirit from the stark, searing pain of solitude. As the curtains closed on her tumultuous tale, the world was left to reflect on the poignant paradox of Christina Onassis, a life where monumental wealth and profound woe were woven together, a testament to the timeless truth that true happiness is a treasure that money alone cannot buy. I hope you enjoyed this week's story on the tragedy of Christina Onassis. If you did, give me a comment or let me know who else you'd like to see. Thank you to all our patrons and viewers. Being a small channel on YouTube is difficult, so your likes, comments, and shares really help. We've come a long way, so thank you for being here, and as always, thanks for watching.